set the scene for you. A lot of unique films coming out during this time, in which Truman Show, Pleasantville, Big Lebowski, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, all very unique, different films for their time frame. Your comedies are Something About Mary, or There's Something About Mary, is by far the biggest comedy hit of the year. You're seeing emergence of Wes Anderson with Rushmore, which is really his first bigger film during that time. Then you're getting a lot of big box office that isn't great, but speaks big box office, such as Armageddon, Doctor Dolittle, Matthew Broderick's Godzilla is involved in this as well.
Ooh, good.
And then you're getting some higher end animation with Mulan, Rugrats movie, Prince of Egypt. And a note that I needed to speak on that was insane. Also, another really unique movie that never gets enough credit is What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams. I'm sure you've seen that as such a Robin Williams
That
fan.
actually won Best Visual Effects that year.
It did. So I have notes on that one. Another shout out to one of my favorite movies of all time.
Although, I think it won Best Visual Effects for 1999.
We'll have to look on that one. But
I'll look right now.
and then one of the most interesting notes here. Also, we're seeing the advent of the more serious comic book movie. Is Blade is released in 1998, but insane here. Do you want to know what re-release made $28.4 million at the box office that year, Dylan? Fucking Grease. Grease made almost $30 million in a re-release in 98. And 28 mil is no joke in 1998. On a re-release.
20-year anniversary? That makes sense, I guess.
I looked at it, I was like, I'm flabbergasted it made that much money. On a re-release, specifically. Grease is a great movie. I love Grease.
Yeah. What Dreams May Come did win visual effects in 98. Armageddon and Mighty Joe Young.
So for outside the big six, art direction, please remind me what wins for art direction that year, because I have two nominees that I think are better.
I'm almost going to guarantee it's Shakespeare.
I believe it is Shakespeare in Love, and I think that's utter horseshit. I think what I have seen of Shakespeare in Love, not shitting on the movie entirely, but it's just not my cup of tea as much. Art direction, I think Pleasantville and What Dreams May Come are both nominated. I think Pleasantville has a stronger case in that. Pleasantville, to me, I have said this offhandedly, is the scariest movie of all time because it's so off-putting. Pleasantville is like, if you put me in a Pleasantville situation, that would scare me more than most horror film things. Like,
Sure.
Pleasantville would freak me out more. But I think it perfectly sets up that Pleasantville's art direction perfectly sets up that film and really allows you to be immersed in that movie. And what I would have picked as a winner, because it would be so, I think to me, it's an achievement, is striking the balance of the dreamscape that is What Dreams May Come, along with you need to have it concrete enough that people can really buy into the tangibility of it. What Dreams May Come is utterly gorgeous and is a beautiful art direction and really deserves a lot of credit for what it did. I get it that they won for visual effects. That might be more visual effects than art direction itself, but I would go either of those films over Shakespeare in Love. To me, Shakespeare in Love, again, felt very much Miramax interference, and we're going with the period piece epic because it's the period piece epic.
Yeah, and this year especially is like Miramax is just getting involved, to say the least.
Okay.
If anyone's really interested in the Oscars, there's a great book called Oscar Wars. It was just written a couple years ago where they talk about the 98 Oscars and how Harvey Weinstein just went above and beyond to do everything he could to get Shakespeare in Love nominated and get Gwyneth Paltrow the win. But I don't have a problem necessarily with Shakespeare in Love winning. It's just the obvious choice, really.
Okay.
The only one that I said I would have.
I do have some more as well, but finish your thought.
No, go ahead.
Original song, a nom for "Make a Man Out of You" from Mulan, I think really deserves to be in that.
Sure, I'd agree.
I think that's I don't know what it is about that song, but especially in our age group, that is one of the most well-known and popular Disney songs there
Yes.
are, and it's just really left a mark on our generation of
Hmm.
moviegoers. I think it's an incredible song, and I still listen to it. I mean, shit, my friends and I went to a cabin during the pandemic together, and it was right before we all left to go our separate ways as everyone was becoming something else. And half our group decided to take acid that day, and
Fun.
hence the reason I'm not speaking any names whatsoever in this. I'm straight edge. I didn't partake. I babysat all day. But one of the most endearing memories I will ever have in my life is one of my friends brought their VR headset, Bluetoothed it to the TV, and because of the acid, they couldn't play. They tried, and they're like,
Yeah,
I can't do
I
this."
would assume
And
for sure.
I was playing Beat Saber, and and it was the setup was in the basement. The stairs were right next to the couch, and then we were watching on the TV, and they would just scream songs down the stairs, and I'd play them for them. And one of the most popular ones we did all day was "Make a Man Out of You" on Beat Saber, and they're all on acid, going, "This is incredible, man!" and I'm playing Beat Saber to a fucking Disney tune, and I'm like, "This is awesome!" Like, I think "Make a Man Out of You" is such an incredible song and deserved a nomination. And then one that not only do I think deserves a nomination, I'd still like to be reminded who the nominees in the writing category are.
Which one, adapted or original?
Original. I have
Original. We got Bulworth, Life is Beautiful, Saving Private Ryan, Shakespeare in Love, and The Truman Show.
and which one?
Shakespeare in Love.
Fucking kidding me. Okay, but
Harvey Weinstein, dude.
the fact that it wasn't even nominated above all of them, I think for writing specifically, American History X really deserves to not only be nominated but to win. American History X is a masterpiece. It is.
Is that original?
I believe so because I looked it
Wow.
up to make sure I was picking the right category, but it's based off of someone's life, but they don't have any previous workout about
Yeah.
it. They just wrote the screen. They wrote the screenplay.
That's surprising because that has book written all over it.
Oh yeah, and American History X is one of the most gritty, impactful films I think anybody could watch.
Hmm.
And it is such a strong movie. Performances are great, but the writing specifically, top notch, creme de la creme. It deserves it over anything in that category, in my opinion.
I would disagree, only because that's one of my changes.
Okay.
I said I would have had The Big Lebowski win
Okay.
for original screenplay.
Okay.
I think The Big Lebowski is one of the best written comedies in film history.
Okay.
It is amazing. Jeff Bridges is like transcendent in the role as the dude. Yeah, I actually would say The Big Lebowski I like more than Fargo for Coen Brothers, which is saying something.
That's a big deal for you, man. I didn't know how much of a Fargo fan you were until 20
Well,
minutes ago when we taped this, 30 minutes ago when we were taping this.
just Coen Brothers, I would have it 3 or 4 movies in my top 50 of them.
Okay. I mean, that's certainly, definitely an interesting one to go with, but it's an inspired choice.
And then the only other one I had, I would have been nice to see a nomination song for If You Ever Did Believe. I don't know if you've seen the movie Practical Magic with Nicole Kidman and Sandra Bullock.
I've seen bits of Practical Magic.
The song is sung by Stevie Nicks, so that's why I enjoyed
Oh,
it.
yeah, oh, that's got awesome
Yeah.
written all over it, dude.
Yeah,
Also,
it's a Stevie Nicks song, so
I try very hard to not sound like a stereotypical dude on these shows. Practical Magic era, holy shit, are both Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman fucking hot. Like,
that's,
Practical Magic, they are gorgeous. It's fucking ridiculous.
that's like Halloween movie.
Now,
It's just like spooky but cozy.
is now the right time to share one of my favorite stories ever in which you were a part of revolving around Nicole Kidman?
Sure, yeah. I don't know when else you're going to be able to talk about it.
So, 5 years ago, my father-in-law passed away. He was the most stereotypical, grumpy-ass Midwesterner I think I've ever met. However, he had some of the most ridiculously funny, gruff one-liners I've ever heard in my entire life. That motherfucker was funny. But it was because he was in this old man curmudgeon energy. First time Dylan ever meets my father-in-law, Mark. All Mark knows, Mark's one of those classic Midwestern dads that because it's not in his worldview, he remembers one detail about you and that's what he wants to talk about. Because he just doesn't know what else to talk about. And he knows Dylan doesn't want to talk to many people. He's not a big people person. Dylan, out of nowhere, agrees to come help myself and my wife move. And my father-in-law and my mother-in-law are there as well. We're in the van and we're transporting I think it was a mattress to just find a place to dump it, and we illegally dumped it in the middle of Milwaukee. All three of us. He just said, "We're doing it now!" And we all ran out and just went, "Fuck!" Threw it away and then sped off. And Mark's trying to talk to Dylan, and he's like, "So, I hear you're a big movie fan or whatever." And I don't know how. Dylan kind of gets into the conversation. And Mark, out of nowhere, goes, Nicole Kidman, she's in that newer movie, right? And Dylan's like, "Oh, yeah, I think she's actually pretty good in it, whatever." He's like, "Yeah, Nicole Kidman, wouldn't even cross the street for her. Don't get it." just out of nowhere, yeah. Wouldn't even cross the street for her. And I was just like, I understand everybody and like, Dylan and I just have to both silently laugh and look at each other like, I didn't even know a statement like that could be made about a person.
Yeah.
Well, it was so fucking funny and ridiculous in the moment.
Yes, and let's just say he was a below average looking man.
Yes, that's fair to say.
To say that about Nicole Kidman is the funny part.
Yes. And it was just the absurdity that endeared me so much. And I know you fell in love with him from that moment on because you just knew he was a wild card that was going to say some wild shit from time to time. Yeah. But just the absurdity of whether, like, everyone has their own sensibility and their own taste in what they find attractive, and all of that goes into so many different aspects of our life, right? But to have even the logic that, like, I can't even understand why anyone would find Nicole Kidman attractive was just so utterly ridiculous on its surface. Like, I'm not over here worshiping at the altar of Nicole Kidman, but I'm still like, that's an attractive woman. You have to admit that. And for him to just, like, baseline, just say, no, not even close, was fucking hysterical in so many ways that I can't even describe. It was one of my favorite memories of just mixing two people who never mix and both falling in love with each other for wildly different reasons. Yeah. It was incredible. God, it was incredible. Oh, so much fun. We'll transition back from Nicole Kidman slander to our Oscar coverage here, and we're now Big Six territory here.
So, director Steven Spielberg for Saving Private Ryan.
Okay.
Actor Roberto Benigni for Life is Beautiful. Actress Gwyneth Paltrow, Shakespeare in Love. Supporting actor James Coburn for Affliction. And supporting actress Judi Dench, Shakespeare in Love.
I have one additional nominee I would like in a category. I think Jim Carrey deserves a nom for Truman Show. He is incredible.
That's one I had down as well.
He's incredible in the Truman Show. There's just such an earnest performance that just makes you fall in love with this person so much and really plays so well to the innocence being exploited in that film. And it is absolutely beautiful to watch his performance.
Yeah. I had two changes, both to the supporting actor and actress. I think one of the things about, like, the best actor win for Roberto Benigni. He always gets shit because he won. I think it's because like everyone attacks what's always like overly sentimental nowadays.
Yeah.
Like that's why Forrest Gump gets so much hate, I think.
I don't
And
understand why anyone would hate that. But
yeah, Roberto Benigni, Life is Beautiful is like literally a comedy set in the Holocaust.
oh, it's a difficult
So,
film. Yeah.
so like I think the sentimental part of it works wonders. I have no problem with that.
My beef with that movie is not the movie's fault. It's a English teacher's fault. So
Okay.
I'll tell that story in a second.
Okay. Yeah, I would have picked John Goodman for Big Lebowski as supporting actor.
Okay.
I think he's amazing in The Big Lebowski. One of the most iconic performances. And then for supporting actress, I don't have a problem with Judi Dench. It's just she's not in enough of the movie.
Okay.
Like, I think she's in like 2 scenes, 3 scenes. It's not much.
Oh, so this was a campaign one, is what you're kind of saying?
Oh yeah, 100%. And then the one that won Best Supporting Actor, James, that was a lot of a lifetime achievement kind of thing, because he was like in his 90s when he won. So.
And it was a we need to make this work kind of situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks.
I mean, he's good in the movie. I would say it's Oscar caliber performance, but it's clearly one of those lifetime kind of things.
As a quick sidebar, we've talked about this already. There are so many times in Oscar history where it feels like someone deserves for something they don't deserve to win for because they didn't win when they should have won.
Yeah.
That's not to take away from the fact that the current performance that they win for is bad. Is there any... It doesn't have to be in depth, but are there any situations where you think someone wins the Lifetime Achievement Award style win when they shouldn't even been nominated for the work that they were nominated in the first place?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because I think it's such a hard dynamic in which you want to reward someone for good work. And then the human element comes in and they get it for something they probably shouldn't have won it for. And then, like, I always think of it this way, like, for years online, the whole commentary was Leonardo DiCaprio, how has he never won an Oscar? He deserves to win an Oscar. And then he won one for Revenant, which I've yet to see that film because I'm just like, I don't know why.
He's great in it.
And I know he's great in it. And I did hear occasional commentary, I can't comment on myself, where people were like, The Revenant's really good, and he's really good in it. I still think he should have won for this beforehand, and this feels, even though he's great in it, this feels like makeup work for the stuff he didn't win in the past. You know, have there been any cases, in your opinion, where you just go, this person shouldn't have been nominated for this movie, and they got it, and then won because of Lifetime Achievement?
I'm sure there's at least one. I can't think of one offhand. I'd have to go through all the winners in the past years, but I'm almost guaranteeing there's one, because there's a lot of times when someone dies and then gets a nomination.
Because they died.
Like Heath Ledger was going to get a nomination no matter what. But he did die and then got a nomination, and then he ended up winning. That's just one example. There's a lot of...
Yeah, that's the positive of we're still recognizing someone's work because this was so impeccable that he has to win, not only be nominated.
Yes, there is quite a few times when people get nominations like that. So I'm betting there's probably one that did win that didn't deserve it.
Okay, yeah, it's just, I always think it's really hard when that conversation comes up to lose sight.
Actually, I could argue in, I think it's 92, Jack Palance, who's like...
Is that for City Slickers?
Yeah, or 91? 91 for City Slickers. He won Best Supporting Actor. I mean, that's not a standout role or anything. Like, is he good in it? Yeah, sure. But is he fantastic.
Well, it's the same thing as I look at it this way. You know, I think Robert Downey Jr. is great in every Iron Man role he takes. That doesn't mean his Iron Man performances are Oscar worthy.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I think Chris Evans is a phenomenal Captain America. I just don't think every time he's Captain America, he should be nominated for an Oscar, right? So I always want to try to keep sight on that because I think it's so easy to get super negative about Lifetime Achievement Awards because it paints it in this like they didn't deserve to win, and you're like, yes, they didn't. And this was a makeup award. This is no different than a makeup call in a football game or whatever. Like, oh, I kind of boned you on this one, so your boss throws you a bone the next time around when scheduling comes out, right? But at the same time, that doesn't mean there isn't high quality stuff when they're nominated and win the Lifetime Award that they shouldn't have won that year. So it's just an interesting one to have.
To answer that question, I'd say Jack Palance.
Yeah. Okay. But, nomination was wasn't even really deserved, and then to win was like what?
But I mean, I'm sure he was in his 90s. There wasn't going to be another chance for him.
I mean, Jack Palance. I don't know how old he was because just a couple years before City Slickers, he does Batman, and he's old in that movie. He's menacing in that movie. I like it. I love him in that movie, but there's
a whole conspiracy around him in the Oscars where people thought he announced the wrong name when Marissa won for supporting actress. Everyone's like, "Oh, he was confused. He announced the wrong name." But it's like, no, that's not how it works. Because everyone's like, "Oh, she doesn't deserve it." But
I mean, they clearly showed it a couple of years ago. Who was it that announced the wrong name and they corrected it? It's like, ooh,
that was the Moonlight La La Land thing. Yeah, where Warren Beatty announced the wrong thing,
and you're like, ooh.
But that was because he was given the envelope that said Emma La La Land. So, different thing.
Yeah, different reason, different thing. But like they will correct it if it's wrong. They're not just gonna. They're not gonna roll with it and just say like, yeah, we definitely all picked that, right? Right? Yeah. So it's certainly an interesting vibe.
I don't think I ever said what I would change about an actress. So instead of Judi Dench, I would put Laura Linney in The Truman Show.
Fair.
I think she's great in that.
The Truman Show is such an underrated film.
It is.
And The Truman Show is, to me, a perfect example of why, I think, oddly enough, streaming services really do this, make us all do this even more, because then we only see them in this light. I look at a lot of young actors, and I'm truly concerned that a lot of young actors that have a lot of talent are never going to make that jump from streaming service darling of one genre to, oh, wow, they're making...
Sure.
Oh, God, what's her name? It's like Lana Condor or something like that, where she does, like, the Kissing Booth... Or not the Kissing Booth. All the boys that love the summer... Like, whatever.
Yeah.
I think she's a really talented actress. I'm not saying she's, like, Academy-worthy or anything like that, but I think she's a really talented actress. I've liked her, and there's something likable in everything she's ever done. And I think because she's just been seen in this, like, oh, I'm the rom-com girl for Netflix, she's never going to get past that. It just feels like, where there was even a commercial lately where it's for like I think it's for like Verizon or like a cell phone carrier or something like that. Oh, I'm the rom-com girl. You're like, that's not a positive if people are just going to get stuck in this thing. And I just think The Truman Show is a perfect example of why you can't pigeonhole a lot of these actors into something. That's the first real dramatic role Jim Carrey takes on, where he still has all his lovable charm. He's still 90s, holy shit, this is a comedic force of nature. And yet, there's something so endearing about his performance that's not just, I'm Ace Ventura Pet Detective, or I'm fucking crazy. Like, and Ed Harris, same deal. He's usually seen as like hard-ass military man. Ed Harris plays these like hard-ass, badass roles. That's not what that role is in Truman Show at all.
He's actually really similar in that role to his character in Apollo 13.
Okay.
Because he plays the NASA, like, command center guy who's in
Naturally.
charge there.
Naturally.
Which they're like almost the same character, but he's great in both movies. And then I just wanted to shout out one more. I would like to see a nomination for Joan Allen for Pleasantville. I think she's great in that movie.
Pleasantville, again, highly underrated film. I think it's one of those films that I look at this with the streaming services now, where there's a movie that kind of lives this like extra life for like 3 or 4 years after it comes out, where people are like, oh shit, that's here? And then it just slowly fades. And then like 15, 20 years from now, someone watches it and they just go, this is a really good movie.
Yeah.
I just kind of watched this on a whim, and holy shit, that was a really good movie. You know, I had that same thing with Interview. It's the same thing I had with Interview 15 years after it came out, where I caught it on terrestrial television and went, this is a really good movie. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's a hidden gem.
Yeah, and it's so many of the... I think that's where some of the Oscars kind of fail, is the hidden gems that deserve recognition, they're going to stay hidden gems because of that. And then those are the movies you almost wish got more recognition because it would make them take that extra step.
Yeah.
Whereas
I think that's what they're getting better at, though.
Yeah, and then there's other stuff like, again, let's get to Best Picture, because Shakespeare in Love is, I know, a controversial one, to say the least.
So, actual nominees were Shakespeare in Love, Saving Private Ryan, Elizabeth, Life is Beautiful, and The Thin Red Line, with Shakespeare in Love winning.
Is that a warranted win?
In my mind, no. I do enjoy the movie. I actually would say I like it, but I wouldn't say it's the best of the year.
Does it deserve Does it deserve a nomination? Is there anything you would replace it with?
No, I did replace two things, but Shakespeare in Love was not one.
Okay.
So I replaced Elizabeth, and I replaced The Thin Red Line, which is a Terrence Malick World War II movie. I kind of find it boring, to be quite honest. Terrence Malick, for me, he's really hit and miss. So I would have put in The Truman Show, and I would have put in The Big Lebowski.
Fair.
So my nominees would have been Saving Private Ryan, Shakespeare in Love, Life is The Truman Show, and The Big Lebowski.
Fair. I think...
And then winning, I have Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, Saving Private Ryan almost gets this... kind of gets a minor dose of the Shawshank Redemption territory, in which, because it didn't win and people thought that was bullshit,
yes,
it lives this like extra life where they're like, fuck you, Shakespeare in Love.
Yeah, it does.
Saving Private Ryan's way better. And
that's why everyone says Shakespeare in Love is shit, even though it's not. It's a good movie.
It's just... what is the big controversy here? Did Harvey Weinstein just essentially buy his way and campaign his way into getting this movie?
Yeah. Well, he's like
nominated and winning.
He's the one who like there had always been like campaigning, but like he really like put millions of dollars into marketing, special screenings, and events like where Gwyneth Paltrow would show up, stuff like that. So he's like doing meet and greets and shit like that,
trying to buy good
feelings. I'm sure there was behind the scenes dirty shit going on as well, knowing him.
It's Harvey Weinstein. Yeah, and you have to assume that. I mean, this is off topic, but it has Harvey Weinstein involved, where I just saw a story in which Winona Ryder, her agent at the time, like screamed at her because she took a meeting with Harvey Weinstein about a movie, and she just extended her hand to shake her hand, and apparently he thought that was like utterly ridiculous and disgusting, and then she went to go talk to her agent about the thing, and the agent just started screaming at her like, what the fuck did you do? You pissed him off. And apparently it was all because she extended her hand to shake his hand, show respect. It's just like, I don't know how true that story is, but like that's kind of, it fits the Harvey Weinstein kind of thing where he just thought he was he was here and everybody else was here,
Yeah.
and that's the way he
Well,
treated people, specifically women in the industry. But yeah, Shakespeare in Love is just a movie in which I like Shakespeare. I'm interested in trying to watch projects that are Shakespeare. Super, super, super faithful adaptations generally aren't the way to go for me. I like having some fun with them.
Shakespeare in Love is not faithful to
Anything.
real life
Yeah,
Shakespeare.
I know this is very much playing to life of just Shakespeare during the time that he's writing Romeo and Juliet and everything like that.
Hmm.
Anything I've ever seen of Shakespeare in Love, I just go, this movie, I can pass on this movie. I don't need to watch this. And that's sad. And that's not what you want from your Best Picture winner. Your Best Picture winner, even if you don't love it, you should still be able to see the appeal. And a lot of Shakespeare in Love, I just kind of go, I don't even know why anyone would really want to watch this movie.
Yeah.
To me, this seems like this Shakespeare in Love. I could be completely wrong, and I'm saying this uneducated wise. I'm saying this as someone who's avoided the movie because it just never even has enough appeal for me even to go, oh, I'll try it. It's just so often it's what a lot of writers. It looks like what a lot of writers would be. It's just silly love drivel. That's what it looks like, set in a period piece.
There's some good stuff in it, but there's a lot of schmaltz, I would say.
Okay,
So it definitely has its demographic. I'll put it that way.
gotcha. And yeah, it's just one of those movies where no one even really wants to watch it or no one really wants to talk about it. So that's why I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I think it's probably most relevant just by saying Saving Private Ryan should have won it over it.
By far, I mean, it's
So,
it's again, I think again, it's an English patient case where it's most relevant because somebody else said something about it
yeah.
that was relevant. Where people looked at Steven Spielberg's Saving Private Ryan and going, "Holy fuck, this movie's great! How the fuck did this not win? Oh, that movie!"
Yeah.
And it's remembered
And
for that.
I don't think Saving Private Ryan is amazing. I think it's a really good movie, but I think it kind of peaks with the opening actually. Like the opening Omaha Beach scene is the best part of the movie.
And that's
So,
probably not one. Would you say '98 is a strong movie year for the Oscars or a weaker movie year?
it's like middle of the road, I'd say. It's stronger than 95 and 96, I'd say. But it's weaker than 97 and 94 to me. So
Well,
it's in the middle.
'94 is kind of one of those fabled years where it's like, holy shit,
Yeah.
this category's stacked. Life is Beautiful always has a tinge for me. Do you remember good old Miss Starkle at Oshkosh North High School?
I don't think I had her, no.
Well, I think by the time you got there, she had remarried and taken the last name Salvia. So Salvia or Mrs. Salvia.
Still, I don't think I had her.
I got real beef with her. I think she was a horrible teacher.
Nice thing to say.
I think when you're bad at your job, you're bad at your job. I don't think she really knew how to connect with people. I don't think she really knew how to teach people. I almost never call people out by name in a personal setting like this. I'll do it because
Yeah, that's true.
I will because I have that much visceral like you fucking suck. None other. I was in an honors English class. We had 4 hours of a final. Yeah, 4. And in the weirdest time to argue, I want to protect the integrity of the film, we had to write a 5-page essay for the final on the same day that we watched Life is Beautiful. And she refused to watch a dubbed copy. We had to watch in the original Italian with subtitles.
Well, I'll agree with her on that.
But is that the proper setting to do that? I'm all for watching it in its original format when you're just purely watching the movie. You're talking about 15-year-olds writing an essay for school in high school.
Yeah, I think
not the time to go.
Weird. That's a weird choice for an English class as well.
And I was just like, hold on. So we're taking this giant leap in which I can see a college professor doing that. But in college, you have time to prepare. You understand what you're doing. You're more mature. You know, like that's And she always said, "Oh, you're doing college level work." I'm like, "But we're not. You're making yourself feel better by saying we're doing college level work, and the vast majority of us are not."
Sure.
And in that moment when we have limited time, you have to essentially read and get the entire message of the movie and write notes, all because you're reading English subtitles to an Italian film and then take them and go write a 5-page essay in 2 hours. It's like, you're out of your fucking mind.
Sure. I'd agree with that.
And to give you context, I did not do well in her class. And I have never looked so bad, and I would say it's probably the outlier due to that one, not because of me. So the first week of the second semester, I watched the first half of Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and then I transferred back to normal English classes, and I looked like a fucking genius compared to everyone else.
That is a weird choice for English class. I don't understand that.
Again, priorities. Look at the priorities. I have no beef with Life is Beautiful, the movie. I have a beef with fucking Salvia, or as she was known as, Starkle at the time, right? Sure. But to this day, in my head, for the majority of my now lifetime, I've gone, fuck Life is Beautiful, because of that moment.
Well, what do you actually think of the movie, though?
I couldn't even tell you. I just remember scenes. That's what I'm talking about. That's why I was just like, I'm into film. I want to watch these movies. I like watching experimental film. I like watching epics. I like watching all these films that many people in our age group and our demographic do not want to watch. I want to watch those movies because I love the... That's why I agree with your Forrest Gump take. Sure, it's a romantic, fun... Sentimental piece about one man's life.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I would love to see that in Life is Beautiful. And to this day, all I can think of is, fuck you, because again, the priority was wrong for the time.
Yeah. Some movies get tainted, unfortunately.
That's how it goes, man. There's so many movies that due to the time frame, I'm like, fuck you, and fuck, like, and everybody has that, like, ugh, because of other circumstances in their life. Yeah. Or maybe I'm just an outlier, who knows, but...
True.
But yeah. Favorite movie of 98. Where are you at on that one?
Mine's The Big Lebowski.
I was gonna say, I'm sensing Lebowski's in here because you talk a lot about good positive feedback for the Lebowski.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to my all-time favorite streaming movie ever. It immediately takes place on my television if I am home and I'm on a streaming service and I see it. It immediately goes on. Antonio Banderas, Anthony Hopkins, Mask of Zorro.
Okay. Hey, finally one I can agree.
Mask of Zorro is so goddamn good. And Catherine Zeta-Jones in that movie. Very nice. But that movie is incredible. Incredible. And completely justifies why I was Zorro in the first grade for Halloween.
That's the first one, not the second one, correct?
First one, yeah.
Okay. That's what I thought. Second one I remember not being great.
The second one I've only seen parts of because I know it is brutal.
Yeah.
The Mask of Zorro is utterly incredible. So good. So good.
How about if you had to recommend one movie from the 5 years we covered?
Oh, Oscars specifically?
Yeah.
Of the movies that were recommended in the Oscars. I'm just going to look over quick.
Anything we mentioned.
Anything we mentioned. So, I think the favorite movies kind of do that, so I'm going to stay away from the favorite movies because I don't want to just say, well, I like it, so that means it's good. Because some of my picks, you would argue, no. I think the ones that I would recommend the most out of what we talked about that had some Oscar-worthy qualities, Interview with the Vampire, I think, is wildly underrated and incredible, especially coming into this time of year. And a second one that just seems to be lost to history is What Dreams May Come. What Dreams May Come is a beautiful, beautiful film that will leave an impression on you if you watch it and give it.
Robin Williams, can't go wrong.
And that's a heavy movie. That's not like a light Robin Williams gets to be Robin Williams movie. That's
don't go in expecting a lot of laughs.
Oh, you are going to be heartbroken. You are going to be faced with a lot of existential crises.
Yeah.
That is the movie. It's just tremendous. And we talked about it a lot, but Truman Show. Those would be the three of the more Academy-esque ones that I would say, yeah, American History X would be another one that I think is
Okay.
great.
Yeah.
And then you heard all my takes on movies I like. So,
Yeah, I'd probably say I don't think enough people have seen Train Spotting,
yep.
and I don't think enough people have seen Boogie Nights. People,
Both of which I know are good and I've never watched. So, perfect
yeah,
example.
I know everyone raves about modern Paul Thomas Anderson, but I don't know how many people actually go back and. So that's one of his early films. I think it's worthy.
I think what's really interesting is seeing this is a good exercise, oddly enough, with the intro pieces to show movies at the time. This is a really good exercise to see where and how director aura is built. It takes 4, 5, 6 films before people start going, I'm going to that movie because of the director. You know?
Yeah.
And I think the fact...
Or you can strike it hot and then fizzle quick.
Right. Because I'm looking, Wes Anderson really doesn't hit and become Wes Anderson until Life Aquatic.
Yeah.
And Rushmore is a great movie. I love Rushmore.
I love
a lot of his early work. Same thing looking at with Fincher and Seven. That's his coming out party. And then Fight Club and everything else that David Fincher does. It's important. Like, when David Fincher makes a movie, you know it's important. You go, oh shit, yeah. I gotta go watch that. But it's crazy to see how many of those directors that are the directors that are marketed as like, whoa, these directors, even to this day, all their roots are back in the 90s, and we're now 25 years removed. From 25 to 30 years in some cases removed from when they were first starting out and starting that profile. So it's just a really interesting thing to see. This is really enjoyable. I actually really, really loved getting to do this.
Good.
I had a lot of reservations because, as you could clearly tell as a watcher or as a viewer, this was not my wheelhouse. This was Dylan's wheelhouse. He was...
Yes.
But I think we balanced it pretty well because I'm someone who just loves movies and can give some opinions. But like I said, I didn't know Shine was a movie. I didn't know some of those movies. I was like, I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a couple of those every season.
But it's going to be interesting. I'm really excited to get into those mid-2000s years where it's just kind of like, what? I can't wait until we get to Crash. I can't wait for that take.
Oh, yeah.
Because I know it's one of the most controversial in history.
Yeah, to say the least.
I was going to say, isn't American Beauty also pretty controversial in 99, right?
Not really. People respect it. It's just controversial now because who stars in it?
Right. But that'll be really interesting. Next month is when we're going to do our next Oscars Opinions and Retrospectives show. It's going to be fun in October. We'll be covering 1999 to 2003, which should be a really interesting time period to go forth. And we get to end with one of the legitimately greatest films of all time in that, which I will have plenty of opinions on that one. I hear you guys are really liking PT Creative's content. And you know what? You should, because it's pretty rad. You may even want to support the channel even more. Well, there's a way you can do it and reward yourself. And that's by going to our Etsy shop. Head on over to PTE Creative's Etsy shop and you can find all kinds of cool merch like you see on screen. You may be watching some of our Pokemon themed content and going, I'd love some merch there. You can do that. You can even get our custom Fakemon stickers right there, or stickers of existing Pokemon, t-shirts, or mystery packs. But you may be saying, I don't know if Pokemon's maybe my vibe. You know what? That's fine, because we got all kinds of fun, snarky millennial content and sports-related things over at the Etsy shop as well. You got some big bench warmer energy that you just got to spread with the world. Or maybe you just need to tell people that you hope both teams are having fun as they're playing, because it's just all about vibes to you, and you hate to see it. You'd hate to see it if you didn't get your merch. You can go get that merch right here, right now. Head on over to Etsy. Go to etsy.com/shop/PTE Creative and go get yourself some awesome merch and go support a local content creator in this community we call the internet. Hope y'all see some great merch coming soon from Etsy. Go to PT Creative on Etsy and get yourself some great merch. No! Hey friends, I know you're enjoying this show, but we want to prime you for a new show. Go check out the weekly schedule over at PT Creative and find your new favorite podcast or show to watch. Monday and Thursday, you get the Far Out Football podcast with news, analysis, and notes of the NFL season, plus great projects during the off-season like draft analysis and what-if questions like what if the NFL expanded. Tuesday, go to the ONETA Show for absurd takes and fun all around. The topics in entertainment, gaming, movies, television, you name it, ONETA Show is going to talk about it. Wednesday, you can go check out the Pokemon Bliss and Oblivion project, in which new Pokemon are being designed every single week as we create the Halzari Fakemon region. Friday, it's kind of a fun, laid-back day over at PT Creative. You can go open some brand new Pokemon card packs, or get some new specials and seasonal content coming your way on a Friday. And finish your week out with the Wisco Movie Watchers podcast on Saturdays. Get great movie recommendations, learn some movie history, and just have a grand old time listening to some dialogue. It's going to be a whole heck of a lot of fun over on Saturdays, just like it is every single day over at PTE Creative. Go check out new podcasts, new content, new shows every single Monday through Saturday over at PTE Creative. Now enjoy the rest of your show. But nonetheless, that's going to be really great. And you don't have to wait all month to get a new show. You can see us weekly because we are here every single Saturday for us. Please go check us out there. Check out our socials. Go check out every other piece of content. We have content Monday through Saturday here for us. But continue watching and listening to the Wisco Movie Watchers podcast. We thoroughly enjoyed you having here. Go watch a great movie, folks. Peace, love, and hugs.